call the meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. We'll start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we need to complete the reorganization. So first, we'll just go down in order. Well, first we should do Pilgrim Area Collaborative, which I know that was Jim Keegan last time, but he's obviously not on the school committee anymore. So Karen said we could put her on whatever she fit. So I told her I'd put her on everything. She's the alternate. I know, so I don't know if we should stick with her because I don't know. I'm not sure if she ever, or does anyone else have interest in doing that?
I know nothing about this committee.
Yeah,
you fill me in?
The best way to describe it is it's a meeting like once a month, right, where you
represent from each school with the lead of that school together and to have a meeting to discuss the current state of the collaborative financial types of pieces of information. Each school district has a voting member on that board, and that's how it works.
So is anyone interested or should I go here? I'm just kidding.
I feel like she did have to be once.
Yeah.
So how about if I'm an alternate and Karen feels it's not something she can handle, I'll take it. Is that fair?
And then written policy, is that something the chair has to be on or is it something that's happening?
I don't know if there's any policy that says a chair has to be on, but I think sometimes chairs like to be on. It's throughout the district, but again, it's not required that it be on.
Okay, well, I would like to be on it.
Oh, no, we have to.
Okay. Does anyone else want to be on it? And then, it's just,
Yes, that's right.
sorry, Jessica. Admin review. So the admin review is the yearly review of our superintendent. And you have meetings where you get together and you distribute and help encourage the members of the school committee to return the information to evaluate our superintendent, because that's one of our main jobs, is like budget of school committee members. So I was on that for the last 2 years. I feel like with some of the other things, I would prefer not to be on it this year. But
That's actually something I'm interested in.
okay,
And I'm also happy to do that.
okay. Is that okay?
Okay, you're gonna be the alternate then?
She'll be, that's right, yeah, she'll be the
That's fine.
And then bylaws is similar to your policy, I guess.
That tends to be representative to the town. Since I have been a member of the Kingston School Department and the Halifax School Department, I have not been part of, nor have I heard about the supervisor bylaws. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen, but it just doesn't mean it.
Maybe I'll put myself there since I'm the chair.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I was going to put Karen's veto liaison again, unless
I think she likes doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's about that.
Okay.
I can be an alternate though.
Okay. And then youth and rec.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay. And if anyone else is interested, please speak up. Is anyone interested in being alternate for that? Okay. And capital budget. Does anyone have any, that's more for big projects. What? It's for big projects that happen in school. We haven't, I had the one meeting the first year I was on school meeting. We haven't really had any meetings, but it's still important to have meetings.
Are there any large scale projects that would be envisioned this year?
No.
I mean,
There
for the school.
are no items on the warrant articles, that's budget schedule, that doesn't mean that we facilities director, they might not move forward to capital projects, that this could be the first review before the plan issue, really time to consider.
And since all of us are on budget, it would be fine for any of us to be on the capital budget, because we're all involved in it.
I'm happy to do that.
And then curriculum development.
They're on that meeting. We never end up meeting. So,
Is that I'm sorry. I was gonna ask if that committee is even required at this point, because it didn't meet.
We have a discussion about it later on, so I don't know if we get to wait until we get to it.
Go to take on the board, if you want to say that this morning before we do.
Okay. All right, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to move that.
I'll second that.
Okay. Then we can have a discussion.
So, I know it was an issue that was brought up last year to form the committee, which for my review of the past meetings, then what you're all saying they didn't meet, I don't know how urgent it is, because we're, tasked with a lot of other responsibilities, so I don't know, that makes it like, that's not responsibility. But I'm happy to carry on the discussion.
No, I felt like our curriculum coordinator has met the job very well, so I was our curriculum and is well trained for that, so since there were no meetings last year, we all have enough that we are doing.
I think Summer had more on there and wanted to open it just as something that parents, if they could reach out to the curriculum director themselves, they can come to us first and then we bring it to them, and kind of overview it before, you know, the parents are kind of just emailing all of us odds and ends, questions, kind of what was what Walker.
Over the course of the time you served on the committee, have you received inquiries like that?
Summer used to, I never had personally.
Okay.
But that was why she started it. I don't think since it's been a thing, she received anything since, but she did before that. That's why she wanted to start it. I don't think it's a horrible thing to have, just to have someone to do the job, a parent who might not feel comfortable reaching out to me or.
So I'm wondering if the title of this, if the subcommittee is even appropriate. It's not more, we're not developing curriculum, in other words. We're more of a liaison or a point person, correct? Is that? Correct?
But I also feel like that's not necessarily the school committee's job to act as a liaison between parents and the administration.
So, can I just add a couple thoughts? I feel like we were all put in these roles to be accessible to the public, and there is the hierarchy. You start with the teacher, then you know, all the way up. And if you feel that you know, the approach is supposed to be different, that doesn't mean that any member or any parent can approach and walk with us at any time. So in a way, I see it almost as redundancy. Because I think if any of us got concerned, we would automatically bring it to discussion. And, bring it to the administration. That's my perspective. But, and I was never really fully understanding of the purpose. Is it more, if it's not to develop curriculum, like if a parent brought something that was concerning to them, what would that be?
Or put an overview of, so where you wants to go and see like, okay, kind of dig into it and see why they're having a concern about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, noble, but I also think that I don't know that any one of us have the expertise to critique curriculum. You can certainly ask questions. And I don't know that I would feel limited just as a member of this committee to not do the same things without that committee existing. I'm going to make a motion that we resolve that committee.
I'm gonna second it, because I feel as though, as a committee, we would be handling this regardless. So whether or not there's a subcommittee or not, it's not like we won't be dealing with, or helping.
Okay, so do we do a roll call vote?
Happy to, but maybe, we all have candidates, so, like,
Okay, so their motion was to dissolve. Okay, so all in favor of dissolving the committee? No. All right. So now we'll go back to, we don't have any visitors, sorry. Acknowledge anyone? So now we'll move on to reviewing and voting the regular minutes of our July 5th meeting.
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 5th, 2023 Halifax meeting. Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there was a small typo, and I feel like it was under Karen's name. I'm so sorry for not writing it down. But it was with regard to, someone was listed as secretary and vice chair, or it was his
No, I
choice. Did that get corrected?
I don't know, I feel like it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so in the motion, Mrs. Berry nominated Karen Townsend for vice chairperson, that
Oh,
should be
that's what I was
secretary.
Secretary.
But that was the only thing that I saw. And,
I know you saw it earlier, and then so we have to make a motion to amend the minutes, correct?
I'll make a motion to amend the minutes. And approve. And approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so then we will have, so we have, are there any warrants?
There are no warrants this evening. We try to keep up the cycle of traditional first Monday, so they'll be available, not this Monday, but Tuesday. But we did have single signature warrants. On Tuesday, August 8th, we had 7 warrants totaling $135,639.28, sent down by the town hall. Just the page. Start by the town hall and sign the warrants and check the issue. We're locked. It's very complicated.
correspondence and reports. I'm still, what you've emailed me about is still working on.
Okay, we
Okay.
appreciate that.
All right, and then future agenda items, does anyone have any future agenda items like that?
So I would like to recommend that we talk about the Silver Lake substantially separate programs that we discussed at the joint meeting with regards to possible restructuring of Silver Lake Regional School Districts to be and that would be an upcoming agenda topic in terms of the warrant article that will be presented to the town and the impact that may have on our schools.
And who is going to be presenting that? Is that us or is that someone from the joint committee?
So, we're going to have members from the joint committee, and our new council president to have his town meeting set up to answer questions and to provide a presentation. And I believe, our chairperson, Paul Hatch, is going to give a presentation, and pending the formal approval of the revised regional agreement, we will then go forward with the line article each of the towns. The towns have been notified, so they are also.
Any other items?
Okay. So then our reporting to committees. I don't think any of that since the last time.
We have negotiations.
But we did have negotiations, but we're gonna cover that in executive session. Right. But other than that, we didn't have, we'll have more information in the next week. And then Union 31 has had meetings over the summer because of the, the contacts in the regional school district, but, we don't have any further.
I'm happy to try to.
I'm trying, I know, I'm like, where do we start?
So I guess we can start with, since around 2004, a number of our substantially separate elementary programs have been referred to as Silver Lake programs. But Silver Lake currently only exists as a 7 through 12 district. We are being asked, being told by the Department of Education that we must change our structure. We can move pre-K, basically, it's how we are currently treating the program, to Silver Lake. But the other programs, we can't just put them into Silver Lake. We have to adopt grade levels, we can't just take on substantially separate programs. So these programs will need to come from our schools and ultimately will probably require additional agreements in terms of shared cost or ways that other districts will build for participation in those substantially separate programs in Silver Lake. And so we talked in that joint committee meeting about that. We talked about the idea of presenting a warrant article to the town, to be invited people from the towns, the town administrators, finance committee representatives, and invite them to the meeting as well, so that they have an opportunity to ask questions of the council and to review the language that was being proposed before a town meeting and for review. This will cause some shifting in the budget in vary in terms of how things are going to be in the past and how things are going to be in the future. So we anticipate all of these changes will be to be made by June of the school year. So we anticipate for the following fiscal year, we'll be a little different and see some shift in resources. And we also discussed structuring shared cost agreements so that those can also be reflective of our towns and populations.
Do we still have paras in this building that are Silver Lake paras?
I believe there are 2 and 3. And so that's going to be an issue that we're going to be used to discuss how that will be addressed at the end of the school. Is that good?
Yeah, I think it was good.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
So pre-K will stay part of Silver Lake.
assuming all three towns vote to approve that regional change.
Okay. And then,
Basically officially recognizing the way we have been doing it since 2004, is my understanding.
So that is an option? Or no, like, that is a different one? But I didn't know that was an option.
What it wasn't.
To vote to keep the same, I thought we did the restructure.
It has to be part of the regional agreement.
Okay, it's sort of like hasn't been operating it, it's just, so
We
you
have
have
to
to
make it
set it as well.
Right.
So like we become prepared, so.
Okay, I'm sorry.
and besides the paraprofessionals, are there a lot of other programs that are following that model?
So not Halifax, but in Kingston, there's several other substantially separate programs with staffing costs that will be impacted by these changes.
Okay.
So we'll be meeting with those meetings as well.
Okay.
So someone that shared like our band person and our EL instructor, those are not considered Silver Lake employees, or how does that work?
So our current instrumental band instructor is employed part-time by Kingston, is employed part-time by Clinton. EL instructor is employed by Kingston, and Halifax reimburses Kingston for the hours that the EL instructor comes to this town to provide support. The numbers of students, the number of English language learners in both and Halifax and elementary school have been very small, and so we have been able to operate in this way. But those are considered Silver Lake positions affected by this potential restructure that we're discussing.
Because they're associated with the elementary school, not the building.
Yes.
All right, what time is it over? Yeah.
Sorry, you're here. Alright, thanks everyone. Different slot here, so it's sure looking over. Alright, so we have, let's see, we'll start with enrollment. So enrollment is a little bit down last year. We had such a big sixth grade group that went out, so we're running 547 students right now. We had a bigger enrollment in kindergarten than we were expecting. So right now, the kindergarten number is at 90. So it's the biggest number we've had in 5 years. So it's been like high 60s, low 70s for a number of years. So that's nice to see. The staffing update, so in the folder there is the staffing update. The way I organized it was just alphabetical, and then I categorized it by a new hire has a dollar sign, a new position has the @ sign, and then a grade level switch, which is what I believe everyone you guys were looking for, was that was it. So there was, what we can see on this list, we had one teacher that moved to grade level. We had 5 new positions. Those new positions were one teacher for the PLC and 2 paraprofessionals. And we had a speech position and the instruments. Those were 5 new positions that we hired. Those were all filled. And then we had 5 new hires, based on people that have left. Right now, we have our kindergarten teachers processing, one of them, and then the only position that we have open is 2 para positions, and those were due to late resignations last week.
And cafeteria manager?
Sorry.
Cafeteria manager?
And yes, the cafeteria manager, that just happened also at the end of last week. We don't know to that.
So does processing mean they're going to start on Wednesday or just for
Yes.
Wednesday? Okay.
We believe, hopefully the person will be in this week. Literally, that was a super fast turnaround. We got the resignation last week. It's, we were able to close it. We pulled together a team to interview and do that camp, and then build the processing.
It's just, you know, I mean, as everyone knows, kindergarten is a huge transition, and to have the same person there. I know, you know, you can't control what people design and whatnot, but, you know, if there's anything that can be done to make sure they're here.
Right. And I was trying to do everything we can, but in regards to the timeline of processing paperwork, and giving them the other district notice, I think that it's the best we can do, and we're hopeful that
At
the
least
first.
kindergarten doesn't start until the camp.
So yeah, so kindergarten doesn't start until officially next Wednesday, but we do screen students on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, then we have another house on Tuesday.
Do they know who they have when they're sitting?
No, what we do is we screen on Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday, we place the students and notify the families on Friday.
Okay, so I don't know, I'm just thinking of kindergarten parents, right? And like, what's the likelihood percentage that you'll come by Friday and name this person as a teacher? I mean, they won't have met the person yet, so, but, you know, I just am thinking of like continuity and saying, your teacher is going to be this person, you know, and it's someone you've met, and, you know, I'm just thinking of these kindergarten parents and how important this transition is.
So I actually spoke to Dave Turcott today, and I was looking for when I will be able to get the green light. He said he feels definitely by Friday at the latest. And it's also making sure Corey's and paperwork and everything and stuff, so assuming that is all in, and I will be by Friday at the latest.
Alright.
I haven't released the name yet,
No,
but
I know, that's
I'm
fine.
pretty confident that we're in a good place.
It's unfortunate too that there's only so many avenues you can go, because we only have right now two other kindergarten certified teachers. So one just started from last year from a special ed position. The other one wasn't kindergarten, he transitioned to first grade, so there's only so many options, especially for kindergarten, you need that early license, so it's just kind of took the beating this year. But I think we found a pretty good candidates.
No,
She's
I'm
ready,
just,
she's a
I'm
fantastic
not
leader,
saying, yeah.
she's been here so long, she's willing to kind of help out and mentor the students, along with Suzanne's on too, who wasn't here. But I think especially this last one that we just hired, I think we hit it, so this one's gonna be fantastic. It's just the processing, believe us, we're like, come on, let's move this through.
No, actually, I'm just thinking of parents being in that situation and sending their kid, and, you know, like, if, I don't know, like, I'm like, is there anything that can be done to make sure, they, you know, we get everything back? And they're even gonna deliver stuff, like, you know? Just because I think for
Certain processes are not in our hands, and so we have to wait until that information is back.
I mean, kudos to Dave Turcott. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of positions that I've seen that have been open and how quickly he's been able to process them, and he follows it to a T. It's been great. I can't say enough about it.
No, I'm not saying it,
Yeah.
I just have the concern, that's all.
That's, I mean, any kindergarten parent, I mean, I have a child going into kindergarten this year, and I'm like, you know, just like, put it in their hands, they've got it, they're gonna make sure that we have 4 good teachers for kindergarten, because you cannot have your kid in kindergarten be teaching at that point, especially with 90 kids coming in, can you imagine that? So it needs to be done, just, you know, we have to trust the process.
No, and I just think of people that don't have kids here yet, but, you know.
Well, so,
then
but
what-
parents, like, when I, so my first son, I think that I didn't know that when Miss McDonald was here, and wondering who she was either, you know, it's like, as a first-time parent, you don't know any of the teachers at this point. So, you know, you're like, oh, you know what, this secondary teacher that you're gonna have, but, am I don't know, you know, you just don't know anyway, regardless of, and I would just trust they're gonna hire the right people to take care of our kids. That's why we're here.
I'm just curious, as a district, do we do exit interviews when individuals leave to find out why they're leaving, whether it was pay, culture?
We offer exit interviews, but we are not required exit interviews.
And is that, how are we using that information once we get it? Is that, being shared just with central office or?
So having an HR director is relatively new, we want to have an HR director for 1 year. But it's certainly something that Dave brings to the table when he discusses things such as wages, trends that he's noticing, things of that nature. He brings it up to committees, in executive session as needed. Sometimes when we propose a change, so for example, increasing the rate of substitutes when we found that we have difficulty getting substitutes or exactly the same substitutes back. So it's being done and it's being shared as needed as often as possible.
Okay, and then follow-up question, how are we doing the substitutes for this year?
In terms of
Do we have them?
substitutes,
Yeah,
We have a pool.
we have a pool.
we don't have a building substitute, but we're hopeful that our staff will be here, and when we do come across the situation with substitutes, they put in the absence as early as possible, so that we can sort of, hopeful,
Okay.
hopeful. Excited.
Getting back to your first question, we've had a conversation about the different elements. We had one chair.
Right.
There are reasons why they did do reasons, maybe good reasons.
Okay.
I guess the thing too, I'm not trying to criticize, it's just surprising that 3 people in 1 grade left.
Well,
You know,
absolutely.
so they're kind of like, whoa, you know? So, did you have?
I did, and it was more, I appreciate all the perspectives around the student focus, but in terms of retention and staff, Mrs. Reddy is a seasoned teacher, but that's a lot to ask of one person to mentor 3 new individuals, develop a cohesion in multiple classrooms. So has there been, and again, I know you're all scrambling to just fill the positions, but is there thought around how to team build, how to mentor? I'm assuming some of these folks are newer to that teaching role, so.
So the district has a pretty substantial mentoring program that has been in this for a number of years. Melissa Farrell, the curriculum coordinator, Steve Blatt, he's principal at the high school, and Brian helps out. But they assign mentors to the new staff, and then they meet on a regular basis. Not only with their mentor, but then they also meet up at the high school, and they meet as a whole.
And is that district, grade level by district, so all the Ks in Kingston, Halifax, Clinton?
So the mentor program is district-wide, so it would be whatever grade level people there are, whatever two people that were assigned.
So theoretically, a Kingston, Halifax kindergarten teacher could get a mentor that's not a Halifax teacher?
They could, but we haven't we haven't had a need for that, so obviously Jen Reddy is one of the leads, but we do have several other teachers in the building that are assigned to be mentors. Have either previous experience or have a license of
Yeah, so you mentioned Mrs. Tonelli, those people. You mentioned Mrs. Tonelli.
No, I didn't.
Sorry, Mrs. Anton, I apologize.
So Mrs. Anton, she has the kindergarten experience. He also has kindergarten experience. So we have the resources here in the building to make sure that those new staff can have support in place.
Yeah, and again, I just am thinking in terms of the quality of education for the kids and, retention, we want to have a team in space. This is a tough year, so.
And it happens.
Yeah.
Just like last year, we were struggling with filling our school psychologist position. So we're happy to have that. And then also 6 maternity leaves in 1 year. Things happen, and we adapt, we pull together, collaborate, and make work. So we're confident in the team that we have down there. We do have 2 staff that are newer, but then we also, Brian mentioned, third one that did hire has significant experience, and I don't have any reservations. So I think he will knock it out of the park. And hire.
I appreciate you, just giving information, it's thoughtful, thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions on the staffing, or? Today we had a great opening day. Starting off high school, I'm stealing thunder, I don't mind. I'm sure you guys kicked it off great today. It's really exciting. Just having students back in the building. So we had students up at the high school. We had 2 of our own, Mackenzie Lee and Joe Kirschland that were there. They're student representatives. They did an awesome job. Like I mentioned, Joe really likes the Mandarin chicken. So they did a lovely job up there, so I'm proud of them. Then when we came back here, Brian and I kicked it off with our long-time staff. We didn't go with the Barbie theme or anything like that. We went with the Lego theme.
Not Star Wars?
How about the barn plan?
Barman.
It was like a hybrid, but we kind of teamed up as a Lego theme that we were working on our end and part of the summer. So staff was great. Since you go things, got everybody going. That's lunch, and then the teachers had some of their own time in the classrooms. That's meetings tomorrow. Next thing we have on there is kindergarten. We have an open house on the 5th. So after the screening is done on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, and on Tuesday the 5th, we have families that come in and they do build in the classroom. We don't have a bus ride. We bus ride. One group we go down to Fido, Bosworth, and then the other one we go towards North and short. Students love it. Brian and I are bus with the teachers and all the students. It's really nice. Then they come back in. PTO is also there, and they have some crafts and things like that. Students and families. Short, then they have a historian with the town library, and then they start officially on Wednesday. Then we have our open house on Thursday the 7th at 5:30.
For the list.
For the whole school. Yep.
How, 5:30 to what?
5:30 to 7. Try and get it in that first week. When the families are going in, see the class from your teachers. Put a face to a name. Second.
Are their kindergartners gonna be the Heli hero?
We do. Little secret. And down bottom is just a few upcoming dates in terms of what we have there. First day of school, students 26 on Thursday. Before it's Labor Day, there's no school. Fifth is next week's kindergarten house at 9 a.m. And we have a 6th first day of school kindergarten. Open house there. We have Life Touch on 12. And then we are doing our booster on 22nd of September. And then we have our first early release.
Thank you. If you had a chance to hear the electronic folder, you can see the five digits that we're going to talk about today. And you can see a screen here was just briefly mentioning how it's organized. There you go. It has a summary page at the very front, and that's the operating budget that's voted on the town of Halifax at town meeting. The next two lines are special education tuition, transportation, which are voted separately, and then other district locations. So those are the students that go to Norfolk County, Bristol County, and Cultural Festival, no social location as we track. So when we look at the financial, on the left-hand side, we'll tell you what the budget was that was voted on the town. And then you see our activity that's happening every day. So we're looking at a couple things that's want to bring to attention. On the second page of the summary, you'll repeatedly is a deficit in special education transportation. That is before we found any circuit breaker relief for transportation. 2 years ago, we started receiving somebody with transportation relief that is continuing. The formulas not being published, we don't know if that amount's going to be just yet. And none of the circuit breaker numbers that are released that are released until they are out. So that's what we know as of this moment. And then the other one that I wanted to bring to your attention was two of the page that are top of the page under the terminology area. There's a deficit of $3,500 of the hardware. Later on the day, I found out that was such a bad mistake that was put to the wrong appropriation. So that would be brought to you before the expenditure. That'll be presented. And that's it for right now. So I'll send any questions and hope you answer.
Any questions?
Well, we do.
All right, and then,
We'd like to do a joint presentation where we talk about what our opening day presentation is. They mentioned over the summer, we had 3 days of our administrative institute. And we do try to make things of more fun and buildings and team building. So over the summer, I think it was more of a Lego theme. And we had some team building exercises with Legos and some Lego jokes. Good time was had by all while we worked. It was a lot of work. So, today we had our welcome back, but we've cleaned up our presentation for you. We took out our bits. We made it more school committee appropriate, and really just wanted to focus on our strategy for district improvement, what we accomplished last year, and what our goals for this year. We began with an introduction of some of our new leadership staff, and I'd like to introduce all of our committee members to Dr. Christine Reese, who is our new director of student services. We were also able to introduce our new assistant director of student services, Ms. Amy Cedarholm, who is also joining us. And then in your packet, you'll see a presentation of what we accomplished in 22-23 with regards to our strategy for district improvement. We continue to monitor social and emotional needs for the analysis of data, and our teachers provided interventions based upon that data. Second step was implemented at the middle school, which is our anti-bullying curriculum in our district. High school students participated in anti-defamation training. That was by choice. Students were given the opportunity to receive some training and join the club with respect to unity in our community and respecting differences. And we have designed a new website, which we launched by December of this year. This new website will provide greater consistency across our schools, so it will look the same from school to school and less disjointed, but also it gives us more accessibility features than our current platform affords us. So there will be greater opportunities for everyone there, for example. Just some of the ways that we make our website more inclusive to our bar as well. In terms of goal number 2, emphasizing high expectations for all students. We did meet inclusion ratios to provide a least restrictive environment for all students. We agreed that there is an element, just for the purpose of the slide, but least restrictive environment is a term that we use particularly in special education classrooms. We want to make sure that the number of students on IEPs does not exceed the number of students who are not on IEPs to provide them with a truly inclusive experience. Otherwise, we're basically providing them with this student-specific experience, which is not a restricted opportunity for them and for others in the classroom. We conducted a number of learning walks this year to talk about what effective inclusive practices look like, and we met with Kane, Ryan, we also met with contract service provider for research and teaching, and we did a lot of work with data walls, data teams, and examining student progress towards meeting grade level expectations, benchmarks such as STAR, DIBBLES, but also MCAS scores and gaps and deficits in certain groups, and what we can do to help improve instruction, to help our students meet their level expectations. We continue to work on and build our capacity to be more inclusive in our classrooms. What does it mean to support students in the classroom? How can we tier instruction to make sure all students are growing and learning? How can we make sure we receive supports in the classroom so that the gap doesn't widen if we without too often for additional services, if at all possible? We examine the support team practices across all schools. In terms of creating and implementing an aligned curriculum, our teachers participated in developing curriculum units that include performance tasks. They organized units in education plan and began tracking their alignment with the state standards. We implemented a new district-wide K-5 literacy program known as collaborative literacy with job and professional development that took place throughout the year last year. And we selected new elementary resources, particularly in the area of science for the upcoming school year. In terms of how we improve structures and processes, we have created a new 5-year technology plan, and we advocated and secured instrumental lessons at Halifax Elementary School. So now we have instrumental lessons at all of our elementary schools. We have a world language position at the middle school, an additional world language position at the middle school. Three classroom teachers at KES to support the growth of their population, a behaviorist at Consumer Related School, and a float nurse across the district to support all of our schools. We continue the use of the capital budget planning system to identify, communicate, and fund district-wide needs. We were able to hire a human resources director last year. We revised the evaluation process thanks to a team of administrators, teachers, union representatives who work with assistant superintendent to review our current practices and to update those practices. Yes. We provided ramp access to the high school field and installed push paddles at our middle school and high school to improve accessibility in both those buildings. We increased the data subrate in all of our districts. We began the process of the Silver Lake pre-K restructure. We had numerous meetings with the Department of Education, some chairs of our school committees, and also our attorney, and also members of the town to help begin to explain this process and move that over. We had coaching positions added to the Silver Lake contract, so our coaches were not being paid through the contract, and we have done that to help athletic director, our high school principal, and also for our human resources director, Dave Turcott. And we also began creating and working with our attorney on shared cost agreements to help us move forward with the restructure. So linked in here, you'll see a link to the strategy of district improvements, still aligned with those basic goals that we introduced to you a few years ago, but we've updated them as a result of our work over the summer. We are going to continue to survey student well-being and develop interventions as needed, and continue our efforts to promote student well-being with those social skills. We're going to expand our efforts to keep our school community informed. We're going to launch an improved website this year. Through classroom walkthroughs, we're learning towards and sharing the best practices. We're going to continue to foster a culture of collaboration and help increase our capacity for effective instruction. With regards to emphasizing high expectations, we're going to create an aligned, engaging curriculum for all. We're going to commit ourselves to reducing achievement and opportunity gaps for our students. We're going to use consistent, effective, research-based instructional strategies. We're going to launch a comprehensive field dashboard this fall to help us track student growth and achievement and whether or not our interventions are actually effective. No doubt that people are working hard. We need to figure out what's working and what's not, and make sure that we help all of our students to grow in their time. We're going to be tracking the progress of our inclusive efforts. We're going to launch a district-wide mass tiered system of support team to lead the building level support teams. Those support teams use data to inform how instruction will be provided and what interventions will be used to help monitor student progress, especially when students are struggling. We're going to use learning tours this year to guide the implementation of effective instructional practices, and our building principals have been asked to identify what effective practices they want to focus on this year. We've asked them to limit it to 1 to 3 practices in total. We're going to continue our work with designing and implementing understanding by design curriculum units, tracking our alignments, making sure that those units are actually aligned to the Massachusetts state frameworks, and getting the difficult process of determining what is most important for students to know and be able to do. And is this unit really getting at those objectives and working within their teams as classroom instructors to figure out how to better support our students in achieving grade level standards. For those departments or grade levels that are already adequate or they have units in place, we're going to ask them to review those units to make sure that they incorporate the principles of universal design for unit learning. In the most simplest terms, I would say is a way for all students to access the curriculum through multiple means and multiple methods. Is being able to show what they have learned through multiple means and multiple methods. In terms of improving structures and processes, we're going to improve the support team process with a working group. We're going to move forward with the new district tech plan and in one of its implementation. We're going to continue to use the capital budget planning to identify, communicate, and fund district-wide needs. We're going to implement DESI required changes to our slow-related elementary programs, which we talked about earlier tonight. And we're going to implement the new updated educator evaluation system in all 4 of our districts. And now we're going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Lynch, who's going to give you some more information about what we're working on this summer.
So the last slide just has some thank yous, and I'll just try to highlight some things that are relevant to Halifax. There were 9 Halifax teachers that participated in the co-teaching summer professional development at the elementary school. All the teachers met over at Kingston Elementary School, and all of our administrators from our 4 elementary schools were there and really talked about how do special education staff and general education staff work together to support our students and develop their co-teaching models and schedules for intervention. So we were excited about the opportunity to do that over those 3 days. Joe already had some curriculum work that took place, and we had elementary units that were created in literacy, math, science, and we were careful to try and pick a teacher to make sure our teacher was representing each of our elementary schools on that work. So we worked hard to have a Halifax teacher on each of those groups and paying teachers to do some curriculum work with their grade level colleagues. We think that results in better work for students, more engaging content, so we're excited to be able to offer that. And also there was summer enrichment here through Title I, and supporting those students. And those are the highlights. And we also thanked our custodial staff and facilities team for all the work that they do over the summer to get our buildings in such great shape. We walked around earlier today and saw the results of their hard work, so we're grateful for them too. So that's a little bit about the final slide.
Well, first, sorry, to circle back, is there an adjustment counselor here at the elementary school right now? Okay. That was another position that was started last year.
She was on maternity leave until December.
Okay. Just wanted to circle back on that. And then the paraprofessionals, have you, sorry, this is just great. Have you seen an increase of being able to get subs since we've increased the substitute teacher rate? Has it been easier to get substitute teachers? Because I know it impacts the whole school if you can't get a substitute teacher and you have to move people around. And it makes it much harder to do all of these different things because you're not staffed well. So, and also being down a few paraprofessionals. Like, so I guess my first question, is it easier to get subs now that we raised the sub rate?
No, I don't think it's still low.
Still no?
No, it's still low.
Oh, it's still low, okay.
still a struggle. My biggest struggle in school is finding another classroom.
Right.
Still trying out,
Right.
it's paraprofessional, it's, even now, we're dealing with several lakes and contracts in the parents, their contract, they're paid, laws are paid in other classes. At Halifax, paraprofessional, not paid. So there's a little divide there. You ask a Halifax paraprofessional class, they're not getting paid. And you ask a credit teacher or you ask reading teachers, and all of a sudden, they're not servicing that. It's true about Halifax. Talked about it today, I mean, paraprofessional. It's still a struggle.
No.
It's everywhere.
No, I
Wipes and
understand.
hands and everyday platform. It's everywhere.
No, I understand, but also hiring, if, hiring the paraprofessionals as well would help with that struggle if we're running down paraprofessionals going into the year. And, but I was just wondering, because I was like, is it the money? Is it, what will it take? And, is it something that we should consider for the budget, having the permanent substitute position? Because I think it's important to not be understaffed, and I mean, I don't know if one person helps, I just things to think about as we're going forward. If this is the reality we're in, how do we make sure we have enough people in the building? That's just kind of, I don't know, anyway.
All right, I agree. It's always trying to make sure we're fully staffed.
Well, I mean, life throws stuff at everyone, you get COVID, you're out for 5 days on that, what can you do about it? So, there's just, there's a lot of circumstances beyond everyone's control, so what can we do to mitigate those circumstances is basically what I'm thinking budget-wise and staffing-wise. So that was my, okay. And then how do you measure the social and emotional needs of elementary school students?
We had a contract with the last company to do surveys, but that was only for certain grade levels. We had originally attempted to do kindergarten, really, the younger grades, but it really wasn't as effective. And the surveys generally are not as effective for students. So it becomes more difficult to be attention to a lot more anecdotal information. Classroom teachers who expect students to struggle with something more. Just the day-to-day lessons that they have in terms of being kind to others, respectful of what the classroom expectations are. If they have, they can call home, they can be reaching out to the counselor and staff, any number of things to try to address the needs of their students.
Can I piggyback on your question? Is there a reason why we're not having students take that survey that's very similar to the panorama survey that is also provided through FCAS? You know which one I'm talking about, the survey that.
The one that's at
The very tail end, yeah. In just reviewing the questions that are asked, they look almost identical.
I don't think we've, like Superintendent said, I think we used the grades 3 through 6 survey from Panorama, like many other districts do. The portal's very easy to use. It's synced with Power School, so you see your students in there. It sort of says like how they're doing relationships with adults, relationships with their students, like growth mindset. So it's pretty. It's just a good way to check in with every kid. We think, and it's only twice a year and it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, it's less than 20 minutes. I don't think we've analyzed how we could get more or better information from the MCAS one. I think it's a good question. I just don't, I think we were kind of excited about the Delta aspect of it. Like, you can give it once and then earlier in the year in October, and then I think Jill went through the October and then the winter, so you sort of see how students are trending. I think maybe you missed that. We just did it only once, but my initial response is to why we used Panorama, but I don't know if there's been a thought of the building about why you were doing.
Was true that the school committee told us not to do it?
Yeah, I had a
What's
couple
up there
follow-ups
a few years
about
ago?
that, yeah.
I think it was a few years ago, I thought the school
committee actually said no to that, right?
So that was a question I had, piggybacking on that. Yeah, it was a thing. And I was in favor, I was not on the board, but I was in favor of the school offering the survey. One of the questions at the time was, what happens to the data? Like, what does DESI do with the data? And does it come back to the school that it would be actionable? So I don't know if there's questions, if there's answers. You know, I'm of the mind that when it comes to things like that, it's helpful for students, the more ways you have for students to be able to express their feelings, that we can respond to better. However, I think it was new when that discussion came up and there were varying degrees of concern on the board. But that's, you know, as a secretary, that's what.
I don't think it's been brought up since, I think
It was new. What grade level is it for? Is it fourth or is
that was
it?
fifth.
Yeah,
We
okay.
Possibly that, but.
I think it would have been my kid who was impacted, and I was like, well, I want to take it, so. Yeah, the other question I have related to that is what other, are other elementary schools in the district offering the survey? Is it like it's Kingston and Plimpton? They are. So like, for consistency, maybe we should review that.
And we all, part of the parent survey, we all part of the policy committee review of surveys, and how they would be implemented in the future. So that was all part of the discussion last week.
And I don't believe the policy actually changed, right?
It changed in, changed to communities. Yes.
So you're gonna do that?
Halifax is currently going to hold their policy.
That's what I remember happening.
And we agreed that we would put it forward to the policy subcommittee for further review. Next time the policy subcommittee is to not do it.
Getting back to the Hannah survey, this will be the first year we're actually doing certainly fall. We're actually teachers and kind of analyze what happens. So we start one baseline, and then you look at the areas on the scale, and you can see progress, and there's a broad one, and that survey strength. So I think teachers are excited as we do what's I heard that today.
No, I think that's great for the data.
My only other question with Panorama is the language that's used in some of the questions is not very child-friendly. For instance, even the word grit, some of our kids don't understand what that entails. I think it might be worthwhile for us to pre-teach some of that vocabulary prior to issuing the survey, so we're getting more accurate results. And that can be easily wrapped into our second step.
But this is only for fifth grade and older, or, sorry, third grade.
3 through 6 here.
3 through 6. So, 'cause I feel like too, how do you address the needs of K-2 then? Because once you're 8, you know, a lot of things are pretty ingrained. But it's not saying, you know, I just wonder, you know, what can we do for the younger grades? I understand that a survey would be tough.
So, like I said, what we did attempt to do the survey is not particularly helpful in terms of our teacher feedback. And so what I had mentioned earlier is that we rely upon our teachers in the classroom, our adjustment counselors, our building specialists to get if they notice any concerns that they can feedback with parents first and foremost. That day, they're struggling with social emotional skills. So they would be looking for behaviors or concerns or patterns and then communicating with parents and other support staff in the district and in the school to help support us without the use of survey. So it's not as if, and we do have second step to help teach certain types of social skills. That's the only way that access social skills or convey expectations for social skills, but we have some things in place to help support students being instructed.
So then, the other question I had was just, I can track progress with specific diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. How is that measured? How do you decide sort of what, I mean, because I feel like it's probably individual or school or where.
It's actually pretty revealing when you look at past data and we broken off by students with special needs, students with low income, males versus females. There's any number of subcategories that you can look at and you can see gaps. And so what our schools doing, last year we had our principals in particular working with data and data teams and looking at primarily achievement and growth data, but as we become more adept and skillful in looking at interventions, we're going to be digging deeper and looking at how to close some of these achievement gaps for students with special needs, for students who are low income. Why is it that low income students are struggling in these areas versus other areas? Are students with in certain subcategories more likely to be disciplined? If so, what kinds of discipline are emerging? So there's no shortage of data.
Okay, so then how do you make progress in these areas? Like what's the strategy for that?
It depends upon the need. So, for example, if we looked at special education, if we find that the special education students are not having access to grade level standards, how could we possibly expect them to perform well on grade level standards? So it may be an online initiative. It may be in our effort to help support them in reading, we're constantly pulling them out of the reading class with grade level expectations. So again, well intended, but sometimes we create these gaps and problems and we need to look at what the data is telling us and make sure that again, I use just special education as one example because I want to celebrate that we have enough students and that we can look at that data.
Can I ask a question about so there was, I had a conversation with you a few years back at a, I feel like it was a selectmen's meeting? No, it was a school committee meeting at town hall, correct. And at the time, there was a vote taken, this group had a subcommittee dedicated to that purpose, and there was a vote taken by the current board to disband that committee because it was redundant to the committee that the district had. And I had a sidebar conversation with you that night saying, how are you going to measure that? And you were like, working on it. So that was a few years ago. So I guess my challenge and question would be, can we have this be an ongoing discussion here about measurements and how you're going to report that up to the community? Because I still think it is a valid need. And the community needs some discussion or at least, an update. More than just at the beginning of the school year.
We plan to provide you with data and information from our MCAS data analysis in particular as part of the bigger picture, not as a separate inclusive update.
But is there a subcommittee or is there a committee at this level, level that addresses that? I think you had talked about a group that the staff had about implementing different.
Yeah, we did DEI working for 3 years. It started in 2021 and continued for 2 more years. We used the same consultants, first in Gates College, another facilitator. We had good representation from Halifax teachers. But the group was also sort of like self-selecting in the sense that if you wanted to participate, you participated in a good form, but like you said, very sort of adult focused. And so we think that the group believes that the next iteration is to be a little more focused on student outcomes and measuring that. And so I think with the rise of our data dashboard and then tracking progress for all students, we think that there's a really good overlap there. That's not, I'm not saying that these efforts are just for people who want to do them, but I think student success is something that everybody's interested in, regardless of sort of whatever subgroup of child or adult they fit into. So we think this is the next iteration of that, and I think we have an approach now that we can report out on. So that's a little bit of the history of that group. Our facilitators, Bob, do support us in this continued work, but we really think that looking at it through a data lens would be something that's less philosophical and more student-centered and action-oriented. And like Mr. Kenneth said, there is this sort of part of it is ensuring all students are supported and looking at gaps, but really it's about growth and achievement for all students. And I think that galvanizes people and all teachers are interested in the kids in front of them. So we think this is really like an evolution of that. And Halifax has had very good participation in that group. And I think this is a place now where even more data focused, which is there.
What was implemented from the folks that participated in that group here at Halifax Elementary? Any findings or?
It's a good question. I think there was a lot of, I thought a great strength for facilitators was the use of protocols. So sometimes they would train teachers in like approaching, a topic with a certain way of thinking about it, where different ways to solve challenges. I don't know to what extent the teachers who participated from Halifax went back to their classrooms and followed those exact methods. I don't have that right now, but like I said, it was very, we did scenarios as well. A lot about how to talk to colleagues about challenging issues in school. So those were some of the pieces we focused on, but again, it's a little bit hard to measure, so we wanted to try to have an approach that is about like learning, success for all students, and having the students be a little more at the center. And our other effort was a good group, but it was very like adult focused.
Well, and I think data's awesome. It's great. I love it, But at the same time, hearing student voices of how they feel at the school, which I know there's, involving the students is important. But if there's this training and it hasn't trickled down into all the classrooms, everyone can learn how to communicate better all the time. So, how do we make sure because you hear things about how people feel at school and it's concerning for them. So, you just want to make sure, like you said, everyone is, getting the best education and feeling like they're in school. So,
Is it possible, I know we already talked about future meeting agenda items, but is it possible to kind of put this as a wish list for future agenda? Maybe you have someone that's involved in the work with your give us a presentation.
those are all my questions. Does anyone else have a question?
I should say, I'm an equal opportunity questioner. You need to know that about me as the new board member. I have a question, and this is probably going to go back to the two of you. We added a new separate classroom this year. Did we find last year with implementation of one that our adjustment counselor and behaviors were with that group a considerable amount of time? And so are we taxing them by adding a second classroom for them to work with?
In other words, do we have enough resources to support the entire school?
Well, with the second program, well, you approved, or school committee approved, having an additional speech, 25 speech paths. So that was one of the signs that we felt that would have been taxed over what we were able to do. But it would be more work, obviously, because there's more students and more staff, but I don't think that something that would be overtaxed.
Okay.
But again.
I'm just wondering if it's
yeah.
something that we need to keep on the forefront of our minds for possible staffing for next year, if we continue down this road.
And I think that's when, after the first program that we had, we saw the need of adding the speech path, and when we pitched it to you guys were great at adding that 25. So if we see something that we feel that the adjustment counselor or behaviors or something like you getting a little bit overworked, then you might be back at the table.
And you have one more member of your safety team now, with the school psychologist back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last year was a tough start because we had our behaviors on every week. We had our adjustment counselor on, and we didn't have a school psychologist.
So you had all the keys.
Down at that DLS stage, so, but we're back kind of full force. We have some great teachers there, we have some great parents that are moving in there, so I think we're separating out. Kane said we not have 25 speech pathologists, it was a full-time speech pathologist here.
It's already
She has
passed.
each case, so, we'll look at it and just think about it.
And I just want to make sure that you have the time to do your work rather than sitting in one of those classrooms helping to manage behavior.
Thanks, Ken. No, I appreciate that. That's helpful. I do think it's like something on the radar about, and like the adjustment counselor. We're seeing our adjustment counselor as a building the size is probably at her limit. And I do think that it would be something to keep an eye on, whether or not it would be something that we put proposed for budget for next year, but I do know that we have seen, the need for additional social and emotional support. Our adjustment counselor is fantastic, but she's one person for 547 students. Does a great job, but it would be something to keep an eye on. Because I do know some schools do have more than one adjustment counselor in a building size.
Plan given, there's some practical, there's a lot of different talents we have now that we haven't accounted for, so. And if you aren't, social emotional aspect is very important for learning. You can't learn if you're,
Right.
you have to, anyway, it's important, so. All right. All right. All right, upcoming dates to remember, August 30th is the first day of school. September 4th is Labor Day, no school. September 28th is, Mr. Bowyer mentioned, is early release, the first early release. And then October 2nd is our next school committee meeting. And now I need someone to make a motion to go into executive session, not to return to regular session. You can just read that and then add not to return to regular session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session, NPL 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining and contract negotiations with paraprofessionals, and executive session pursuant to NPL 30A, S21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, approval of executive session minutes of May 8th, 2023, July 5th, 2023, not to return to regular.
Second. We have to do a roll call for that. Okay. All in favor?